Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel here, Kids Out Mobile Home Outfitters. And today we're going to be doing a different video, a little different than what I standardly do. This is going to be kind of a little sub channel on the channel, if people like it or not. But today's video is still construction based, but it's here on the farm. So this is kind of a weekend project for me when I have time. And so this should be a fun one. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to go, but enough planning and preparation, it should be all right. So behind me is one of the things on the farm here that we recently built. We recently got goats, and this is the little goat structure. And we put up the goat fencing. You can see the goats right back here. They're kind of grazing. We got 6 Nigerian dwarf goats, and they've been busy. So I did shoot some content for the fence, but we had to get it up in such a hurry that I didn't really get a lot of content on it. But there is 480 lineal feet of sheep and goat fence. We pounded all these posts in the ground, and then we built this structure. This is where the goats live. It's not completed by any means, but it's a dried in structure. I recently put the tin on the roof yesterday. I still got to finish that. But today's project, in between the fall winter storm that we got today, is to pour a concrete slab down here. So I need to get this all cleaned out. But today's video is interesting because I'm going to try something. We're going to be using the MudMixer here, an awesome machine. I actually store it backwards, so I take this handle off and store it backwards, so it's a little more compact in my shop. But I'll take the handle off here, twist it around, put the handle back on. But we're going to be using a Jackery today. None of this is sponsored. This is all my own stuff. But when I ran a test, it appears that the MudMixer can run on the Jackery. It's fully charged, so let's see if I can run the MudMixer for this space long enough on the Jackery, because I don't have power over here. I am roughly a quarter mile from the well, so I have every garden hose possible to get here. I got 29 bags of concrete available to pour, and we're going to be doing a 6x6 concrete slab here to eventually close this off into a nice little tack room or a little shed out of the elements. But to start, I need to clear this out, form it out, and then we'll get the machinery hooked up and see how long it takes. MudMixer says they should be able to mix a pallet of concrete in an hour. I got about a half a pallet to do, so supposedly 30 minutes it'll take me to mix this concrete. So stay tuned for that. Let's get to cleaning out. So today's Jackery is the Explorer 1000. The only 2 things I'm going to run is battery packs for the GoPro that I'm filming on, and which shouldn't take very much, and then the MudMixer. So let's turn this guy on. All right, it says it's 95%. after I did the test. Plug these guys in. And it says these are charging, it's taking 7 watts. So that'll be the only 2 things I run on this thing, and let's see how it does today. Alright, so the first part I'm going to start with is going to be this side over here. This is the highest side. So I'm going to start with, I need to grade it down just a little bit more. All the posts are set in concrete. So I'm going to start with my first one over this way, and then I can build off this one side and then build off this long side here, which my goal is to maybe fill this in with concrete also to stop any kind of rodents from trying to get around and in and live in between the building. So let's set up to grade out this one side here. Alright, first board set, and I'm setting it perfectly level. If this was an outdoor pad that's going to be exposed to the elements, then I'd probably put a little pitch on it, but I'm going to go for level because it's inside a building. Alright, next I'm going to do this side. Fairly easy. Line it up with the height of this board over here, put a level on it, boom, boom, and then we'll run a long one. I think I got a long one that can go all the way down the building there, and see how much of a gap we have back in this corner here, and go from there. Okay, so 2 boards are in. Now we're going to work on the 3rd board. And it's going to be this long one. because eventually I want to, if I have enough concrete, I'm going to fill this void in along here so that rodents can't live in that zone and it's blocked out, because there's going to be finished walls and all that stuff. So I don't want anything to dig up underneath to get into that area or to make a nest. So I need to block it off so they can't get in all these nooks and crannies and live in the walls and whatnot. Alright, I was wondering how long it would take till we would get some friends over here. We got our first one coming to check it out, figure out why we're making all this ruckus. So, yeah, so I got my form boards in. I have a huge gap underneath here. That's how much the terrain drops. So, roughly 5 inches in this corner. It's pretty bad along there. So, I did just get some gravel up the hill in my little stockpile there. So I think I'm going to take the wagon and go see about getting a wagon full of gravel so I can bring this up a little bit and not use so much concrete. It's not exactly the gravel that I normally use for this, but it's a definitely bigger gap than I want. So let's go get some tools and a cart and get to moving. All right, next I need to set you up here. I gotta pound some stakes around to hold the form into place. I don't have to get too crazy. It's not that giant of a slab, but I do want to make sure that it doesn't bulge out on the sides. When you're pounding in your stakes, make sure you set them below the top of your form. If you can't, then you need to cut them off, because when you go to screen your concrete, that's when you'll notice that you forgot to bring them below grade, because you won't be able to shimmy across very well. Okay, I'm going to do one last packing. Get it somewhat tight. All right, next I got some plastic. This is 4 or 6 mil. The idea behind plastic is to stop hydro pressure. If this was just an exposed facility where I wasn't putting walls on it, I just pour the concrete. But with this being in a building, you can get hydro pressure here in the Pacific Northwest. So much water is in the ground that concrete is impervious to a degree, and will make the concrete moist on the surface, which will give you like rotten boxes or something like that. So clear plastic I'm going to put down inside the form here, and then I have, and this is probably overkill realistically. I just went over to my miscellaneous fence pile and grabbed a chunk of wire mesh. I got 2 chunks. It's not enough to fill this in. You don't need to do rebar, really don't need to do anything, but since I had a piece that's really should be thrown away, I don't know what we were saving it for. I'm just going to put it in the concrete to help strengthen the concrete and do a little overkill, I guess, in my eyes. And it is typically not windy here at all, but today it is windy. So now the form is kind of set. I think it's time to set up the mud mixer with the Jackery and see if this idea is going to work. Yeah, so I think we're just about ready to pour concrete and get after it if the wind will allow us. All right, now I got to find a spot to set you. All right, just that easy. That's how fast it is to hook up the mud mixer. Like I said, it's a little windy today. We're experiencing gusts of 40 miles an hour right now, which is totally out of the norm for us. So it should be a little fun here as I get this concrete going. We'll see what happens with the weather, but we got the Jackery hooked up, and it says we have 94%. So it's plugged in, and the only thing we're using right now is the batteries for the GoPro, and we're at 9% or 9 watts being used. Then the other thing you hook up is your garden hose. I did get some of the accessories. They're coming soon, but the riser for the top and the extender nose extends it out 18 more inches. The nose would be good today. I don't know if I really need that, but it will allow for up to 320 pounds of concrete in here at one time, dry concrete. So it's going to be nice to just drop a bunch of bags in there and just rake out and whatnot. So I got my work cut out for me. I'll see if the wife wants to help me do the mud mixer. If not, one-man show can be done. All right, time to get after it. Got the mud mixer hooked up to the Jackery. Water's hit. Plastic's down. I'm going to pull the metal up as I get in there. Like I said, it's nothing that we really need, but why not do a little overkill while you're in there? So let's get after 25 plus bags. First time I ran out of concrete. That was the first time I ran out of concrete. $30 bags of concrete in 30 minutes. 1 bag a minute. What? It's holes. Yeah, put rocks in there. Try and gain a little bit. It's not gonna solve all. That is 30 bags of concrete. I'm probably, to be honest, 2-3 bags short from the top of the form. So is what it is. You win some, you lose some, and this is a loss. So MudMixer, great machine. First time using it by myself. I did 30 bags in this thing in about 30 minutes. So it's one 60-pound bag a minute. And it ran dry on me once. And when it did that, I noticed that it took a while for the mix to get right and it became really wet. So that's where I became really watery on top here, a lot wetter than I wanted to be. So that didn't turn out as planned, but that's the learning curve of a new machine. So it takes a minute to dial this thing in. I would recommend a slab this large, maybe even smaller than this, to have help when you're going to pour it. The plastic underneath is going to keep this moisture locked in on top for a while. So that's why I wanted to be a little bit drier than it did. So it is what it is. It's just a little tack room, but I don't know, 1/4 inch short. I'll put a little broom finish on this. I think I got it pretty well level. I couldn't use a 2x4. That was the plan, is to do the surface with a 2x4 so I can get it nice and level and perfect from form board to form board, but because I was short, couldn't do that. So there's one of the goats. It's starting to rain now that I'm wrapping up. So now I need to clean up before I get wet. But anyways, MudMixer, great. The Jackery did awesome. Let's see what we ended up at. 81%. So it mixed for solid half hour, 35 minutes, and we used 20% of the Jackery, maybe a little less actually, because we started with 95, so 15% of the Jackery. So that could mix quite a few pallets of concrete on one charge with this thing. So pretty impressed with the Jackery Explorer 1000 MudMixer. That's awesome. You can hardly keep up with it, especially if you're filling and pulling. So be ready for that. Otherwise, one person here, one person there. All right, I'm gonna clean up, let this dry for a few hours before I can hopefully put a little broom finish on it. So hopefully you enjoyed this special episode. If you like it and you want more of it, make sure to like and comment below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And I got some cool things in store for this goat shed. So hopefully you enjoy following. Have a good day. Here's what it kind of looks like after it's set up. And we got the rain done. And a quick little broom finish. Didn't turn out half bad. All right. We'll see you on the next episode.